Hi, Sean again. So the last couple of Wednesdays, we talked about discipline, we talked about positive thinking, kind of traditional ideas really, traditional values for Sean again. Something that's really important that's maybe not so traditional, something we've thought about more recently is the importance of self-care. Taking care of ourselves, maintaining balance in our lives. Because if we don't do that, then we're not going to be able to function well and flourish and learn and contribute to the well-being of others. So we want to talk a little bit today about self-care. Things like sleep, for instance. Sleep is really the key in some ways to physical and psychological health. If you don't get enough sleep, you suffer physically, mentally, emotionally, in every way. I know about this. I remember one time I was in grade 8 or so, and I wasn't getting enough sleep. And I went to school one morning, and I looked down about halfway through the day, and I realized I had 2 different shoes on. Not only were the 2 different shoes, one was a loafer and one was a tie shoe. And I just remember how embarrassed I was, and how, when I think back on it, how just I wasn't getting enough sleep in those days. So sleep is important, but let's talk to Lucas and Han about some other issues around self-care. Lucas and Han are the prefects who are taking some responsibility for helping us look at issues of mental health and how to live healthy lives. So Han, why don't you tell us a little bit about the vision that you have for promoting mental health at Shawnigan?
Well, I would say what we're trying to do this year is to promote the resources that the school already has and to make sure people know where things are, how they can get help, increasing that accessibility and learning how the system kind of works and kind of spreading that awareness of mental health and educating people on it to diminish the stigma around the school. So,
Yeah, because there's lots going on. It's just sometimes we don't do as well a job as we could about just letting people know, eh? Yeah. What about you, Lucas? What are the big issues for you?
Well, typically when we're at a busy school like this one, you just think about everyone going through their day and having a ton of prep. For example, this morning, I was talking to a friend in my house who was gonna ask our house director for a day off because he's already been so stressed his first, 2 weeks. So one of the things I really wanted to bring in is just even if you have these super hard academic classes, it's always okay to ask for, a day off to your house directors and staff. Because sometimes it's the best thing you can do for yourself, you know what I mean? Having that one day to just relax, not worry about your prep, while of course staying on top of your classes is, that balance is always very important. So just keep maintaining a balance.
Yeah, we live such a kind of hectic life, really, in some ways. And I think what you're saying is people need to take responsibility for deciding when they need a little bit of a break.
Yeah.
So that's your best advice, really, to people. What about you, Han? What's one piece of advice that you might have for people?
I would say to not be afraid to establish boundaries. Far too often I find we say yes because we want to be included in something, we have a fear of missing out, or we want to make sure people know that we're committed, but sometimes you cannot take on so much. We aren't inexhaustible resources. We need that rest and that time away. So it's perfectly okay to say no, especially when at Shawnigan there's so many opportunities coming at you, so many things to choose from. And sometimes for yourself, you just have to say, hey, maybe not today, maybe another day, because there will always be another day. And not be afraid to assert your needs and say, hey, let's back off for a bit. I need this, I need that rest, I need that break, or yeah.
Yeah, and so the rest of us really need to honor that and be sensitive when we hear that from people that they really need a break, and of course not take advantage of that, but really start to try to be more sensitive about those things. Yeah.
personally, one piece of advice that I'd really give is to really get yourself into a good routine. I think that's one thing that Shawinigan does really well is that we, go to sign in at 8:10 to 8:30, and then you go to your first class. You have your day laid out for you, and it can really help to reduce thoughts about just, oh, I'm so bored, I have nothing to do with my life. It's like, no, I've got to go to sport, I've got to go to fine art. So I think that's just really keep yourself in the good routine. And a good routine is just it's perfect for this school, because if you're by yourself in your room all the time not doing anything, then like you're gonna start to have bad thoughts, you're gonna start to get lazy, and then so just keep yourself in a good routine.
Not get isolated, eh?
Yeah,
Yeah. Keep reaching out, connecting with people. Yeah.
So Rev, how did you sleep last night?
Not too well, actually. Oh.